let's have a quick blast of your team news then, if we can, please.
Look, I don't expect too many changes. So the girls have come in today. Well, we've assessed a couple. We'll see again tomorrow. So up until the final training session, how girls have recovered, and then we'll discuss the minutes and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all hands on deck with the sort of thin numbers that we have now. So we'll try manage everyone, look after player welfare, and be as competitive as we possibly can in front of our home crowd.
Absolutely. Does it become more difficult with that sort of recovery period after a Wednesday game?
Look, yeah, naturally it does, especially when your opponent is having a whole week to prepare and sort of will be much fresher heading into the game. But look, it is what it is. That's the fixtures with the League Cup. So we will move to the Wednesday night. It was a tough game, but these are the sort of things that we want to be part of in the future, where we want to be in Europe. We want to be competing on all fronts, and then you have to be ready to play every 3-4 days. So we'll recover well, and we will have no excuses on Sunday.
And having had the chance to sort of analyse and assess the game on Wednesday, what are your reflections on it?
Look, first off, we tried something a little bit different. We were just getting the press wrong, and that sort of gave Chelsea easy control of the game. So, and then we were a little bit hesitant, didn't make the most of our time in possession. We created a really, really good chance with Maddie that I think it was Burman that made a really good block. That was maybe if she shot to the near post, potential for it to go 1-0 up and would give us that boost. But both goals we were quite disappointed with. Normally we deal better with that. But good reaction in the second half. Got more control of the game, but just unfortunately we weren't able to create many clear cut opportunities to give us a chance to equalise.
You've spoken about being sort of wanting to be better in both boxes. How can you sort of address that on the training ground, or is that a player mindset kind of thing?
Look, a little bit of both. So it's something we have to work on. We're a little bit unfortunate to have Kiko away, who's in really good goal scoring form and is a constant threat. So we're probably a little bit thin in that forward line in terms of goal scorers. But it is a mindset. That will and that determination to get into the box, to get into these areas. And when you're there, the ball can fall to you, similar to the second goal. Lexi comes into the box, a lot of hitting bodies. She's in a good position, first one to react, and then puts it into the back of the net. So, that's something that we need to learn as well. That we need to be, and it is that desperation, defending, and also to score goals, because that's where ultimately the games are won and lost.
In terms of Liverpool, only I think Chelsea and Manchester United have beaten them in the last 10 games in all competitions. They're fifth in the WSL form table. They've put together a real good run, haven't they, towards the end of the season, that's sort of dragging them out of the bottom place. What have you seen from them? What do you attribute that sort of changing form down to?
Probably it's a few factors. I think early on they were never a team that was for the bottom. We can't forget over the last few seasons as well, Liverpool were always there challenging. They were close to the top four, so majority of those players remained the same. So we knew that they were always much better than what the table indicated. There was also the heartbreak with their coach that was with them for a very long time with Beattie passing away. So that naturally has a tough effect on everyone. Gareth came in later in the pre-season, so it took them a little bit of time. But, there was a lot of games where they performed well and just results weren't happening. And then, now as well, they've really bolstered the squad in January. I think it was 5 or 6 signings, incomings. So, that's strengthened them a lot. And, they're a dangerous team.
They're obviously still, though, looking over their shoulders. Can you take advantage of their nervousness, or is playing a team that's sort of, fighting to avoid the drop, is that even more dangerous prospect?
I don't think they'll worry one bit about the drop. I think they'll be completely fine in that regard. They've got too much quality to be in that discussion, and like you mentioned, in the last 10, not many teams have been able to beat them. So I think it would be unfair to say about them being in the drop zone with the current form that they have. So we know we've got a really, really tough game, and we're looking forward to it and to try bounce back and get into the winners column.
Can you take any lessons from the reverse fixture, or is that just a little bit too long ago now and things have changed a little bit since then?
Maybe look a little bit. I think with individuals, you try to see things if there's any traits over the time, but they have adapted a little bit. There's new players now that have come in since we've played, many new. So it is a different looking squad. They've tried a few little different things, especially in their last game. So we have to be ready. We have to be prepared. They're very well drilled, very well coached, with a lot of good individuals that they can all hurt you if we do fall asleep.
And does it become difficult as well with that sort of gap that the WSL has had for most of the teams, where you're trying to analyse what teams are doing, what patterns patterns of play, and everything else, and it just becomes you're not quite sure what you're going to face necessarily, are you?
Yeah, look, for this international window, it did feel a little bit like that because you have such a long break, and then your first game, and Chelsea had the good, and maybe they'll argue a little bit the bad, going in a little bit fatigued of having played a game before, having a tough game in the League Cup final, so they've been able to have a game to find their rhythm. Well, that maybe contributed to us being a little bit slow and a little bit sloppy at the start in the first half, and then on top of that, you're playing away from home at Kingsmeadow. So it is probably a little bit. We would like to have a not such a long time apart, where we have many girls are away with their national teams playing different ways, and then quickly trying to get them back into the Brighton frame of mind. But this is the schedule. We can't change it, so we just have to adapt and find better solutions.
And finally, for me, Spurs at the Amex announced today, and more games there next season. That must excite you and the squad as well.
It is. We really enjoy being at the Amex. Our fans come out and support us there. They turn out in great numbers. It's always a fantastic day. Last time we were there, we had a great afternoon with a really good performance. So, that one's still a little while away, but it's one that we will definitely be excited about to finish the season at home at the Amex in front of our fantastic supporters.
And it always tends to be pretty good weather that time of year as well. So
fingers crossed.
Hopefully the sun will shine on you.
Yeah, no, hopefully it should be a great day.